Hey everybody, welcome to the weekend.
We are almost there.
It's another episode of A Blind Guy,
His wife,
Their Life. And on this channel, what we do is we change the narrative of normal. What it means, shifting the focus from what it means to be disabled to shifting it to being differently able. We also do this by within 30 minutes, we share with you some fascinating people, fun people from our life that we met through the course of our years. And today is no exception. We're gonna have a great time with our special guest today. Now, today we're gonna have, as usual, every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 11:15 to 11:45. We always have a fun-filled half hour where we start with our word on the street. We also have a special featured guest, and LaQuita shares a plant-based treat.
That's my favorite part, plant-based treats. I love to eat. So, yeah.
And of course, as you can tell, I'm a big guy. I love to eat too. So we're going to have fun today when we introduce you to it. Today's a family affair. We have some very special word on the street guests today, tonight, Melissa and Kabra.
Oh, yeah. We're going to say hi to them. So they're just going to wave really quick so you can see who's doing our word on the street. Hey, guys.
Hey. Hi. And they're actually going to be hosted by our watoto, or our children. Watoto is children in Swahili.
So we'll make sure we wave to them as well. Hey, guys.
Hi.
All right.
And then we have a very special guest. She has a professor. She's a consultant to police departments for social justice and for professional sports.
All right, so Corey, just stop. Let's just talk about her.
I'm getting excited. So
well, here's the thing, guys. She's an old friend, and I don't mean like old, walking on a cane and very wise and all of those good things. We'll just go ahead and say hello to her because the phone is ringing. Hey there.
Hey. Good morning.
Good morning. This is our special friend today. And today, you guys, this is our great friend, Dr. Kideste Yusef. She'll be sharing some information with you as well.
All right, we'll see you soon.
All right, so let's get started. We're gonna bring in our watoto.
Well, no, wait, we gotta say good morning.
Yes, good morning. Try to get you in audience.
Oh my goodness!
Because you have to read to me. You have to read the comments to me so that I can hear them since I can't see.
Yeah, well, you know what? Philip Waldo Jr. says, "Good morning, all." He's here.
Good morning.
He is ready. Fan Britt is in the house. She says, "Good morning."
Good morning. Felicia's on her 30th cup of coffee.
Yes, absolutely. You know, you got to get that cup of Joe in. And then, of course, we have here Grand Rising, everyone. Shine bright.
Shine bright, shine bright. You need to shine a little bright. It's raining outside today.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the weather is another story. That's just where we are. But, hey, it's a nice, clear day. It's not too cold, even though it's winter. And Fam Britt also says, hey there, fam. She's excited too, Corey.
All right. So we're excited to be here with you guys today to share with you some special guests. And again, today's word, and so we're going to shift over to our watoto, our children, who are going to host the word on the street.
All right, so we're going to bring them in, and they will help make our announcements. I'm in charge of the intro music today, so I'm ready, guys. Go ahead and introduce them, and then I'll bring them in.
It's time for today's word on the street with tonight, Melissa and Kabra.
Might as well show off.
Hi, hey guys.
Hey.
So what's today's word on the street?
Today's word on the street is mother.
Well, you guys are Ethiopian, so what's the Ethiopian word for mother?
So there's many languages spoken in Ethiopia, but the main two are Amharic and Tigrinya. And in Tigrinya it means Ade, and in Amharic it means Ima.
Oh, well that's really cool. So what's today's slang word on the street?
Today's slang word on the street is cap.
It means to lie or to not tell the truth.
We use that word a lot, like towards our friends or each other. They say something, we don't believe it, we be like, you straight capping. Or yeah, cat. Or why you capping?
That's a cat.
Yeah. So we heard you guys were back on in-person school full time. Do you guys like that?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's
not bad,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Y'all capping. Y'all capping. So like, do you guys, when you switch classes, is it like, or if you do switch classes, is it like a little bit of people at a time in the hallway or whatever? Or it's like the whole school just in the hallway to switch classes?
It's the same amount of people. It's still the whole
Yeah.
school pretty much.
Well, thank you for giving us the word on the street.
Yes, of
You're welcome.
course.
Bye.
All right, bye guys.
We're gonna
Thank
put
you
you guys
so much.
backstage. Thank you for bringing us the word on the street.
Awesome. They were great.
Yeah. So Knight, Melissa, and Cabra. Again, this is a family.
Oh, wait, Corey, we forgot. There was a hello and good morning from Grammy Candy. How sweet.
Hey, Grammy Candy in the house. Sweet like candy. Oh.
So, yes, this is just awesome. Everybody's chatting. Everybody's saying hello. They're welcoming people here today. So, I mean, I'm excited, Corey. What are we going to be talking about today with our guests?
You know, today is a special guest, a great friend of ours. And I tell people all the time, it's funny because it's rare that a guy can have a side chick and his wife is okay with it. And I say that,
Side chick.
I say, so this person's been 20 years a side chick. And I say that jokingly, we met in college. And sometimes, even she was dating a good friend of mine at the time, and sometimes we would go to events, but he wouldn't be there. So I had to pose as her boyfriend at times. And so people always like look at us like, what are y'all doing? Corey's married. And so we knew the inside, but a lot of people didn't know the inside was that, I was actually doing my job to help my friend out by protecting his girlfriend from those predatory men. So with that being said, today's special guest is a great friend of mine. She's a sister to me, and she's also a professor and department chair of justice and political studies at Bethune-Cookman College. But she doesn't just stay in the classroom. She gets out and about to promote social justice in the community. I bring to you today's special guest, Dr. Kideste Yusef.
Hey, I did a great intro.
Killing it on that bottle.
All right.
Good morning. Good morning. Blessings, everyone.
Good morning.
morning.
Blessings to you. How are you today?
I'm good. I got a bonus report. I was like, I've never been introduced as a side chick, and my university demoted to a college. We off to a great start.
I'm sorry. So Bethune-Cookman University is what I should have said. The Bethune-Cookman University. So Dr. Yusef.
Well, that's where she is now.
That's
When you guys were
we met in college.
right, and when you guys were together. So that was way back when. And it's so interesting how things progress and flow, because you know how it goes, Kideste. You're out with a friend and you're like, hey, I have to make sure that I disguise myself. And Corey's an actor. Hey, it worked out, right?
It did. I appreciate all those who talked to acting as my chaperone.
Yeah. There you go. Just so you know, Corey, Grammy Candy loved her music. She says, laugh out loud, yes. And then Britt says, oh, Karen Pino, good morning. Good morning to you. Hey there.
Good morning, Karen.
Also, Shine Bright is saying, welcome, Dr. Kideste. She also says, make sure you hit that like button, fam. So don't forget, hit the thumbs up if you have not already. And Fam Britt says, everyone's all grown up. She's looking at the kids, remembering when everyone was little and they were getting babysat together and stuff. And she's also sending blessings to you. Okay. And our children are saying, hey, Aunt Kideste, welcome, Doc. That's what Philip Baldo Jr. says. And also Martina Martinez, hey there. She says, love this. Good to see you, Martina. Thanks for being here.
Now, we're going to jump right into our interview today because you're doing a lot of great work. And like I said in your intro, most people think of a professor, they think of them in a university classroom, standing in front of a whiteboard, using a laser pointer, and
she does some of that.
With the 80-page syllabus requiring 3 30-page papers. That's what the typical image of a university professor is. But you're not just in the classroom. You do some of those things, but you're also out and about in the community promoting social justice. And as part of your work is working with local police departments, especially in light of the George Floyd murder that was occurred on national TV over the summer. So I know you have been interviewed by lots of different news outlets there where you are near Bethune-Cookman University. And so we want to start by showing one, but we're going to get you to set it up. It's the one where you're in front of the training simulator and you're like with a gat like, bah, bah, bah.
I don't think she was necessarily capping.
Like busting caps.
Yeah, I don't think she was busting caps. I think it was something different. So you tell us exactly what's going on in this video that we're going to share from the local news.
Okay, so yeah, Corey, like what you said, that's right. I am in the classroom, but we also do a lot of community engagement work. So the clip that you're about to see, because of the work we were doing in Florida, one of the Volusia County Sheriff's Office donated a simulator. And so what you see in the interview is I'm getting interviewed about some of the beginning work we're about to do in Orlando. And the way that the simulator works, every police officer before they go to the academy has to go through these simulations. And it's essentially just a use of force, like to show what level of force is appropriate. We use it at the university for students and community members so that they can get a feel for what it's like to stand in the shoes of law enforcement officers. So the clip you're about to see, I am firing some testing shots. Corey, don't mess with me. Like, you know, just got from a 9. But I'm firing.
Hold on. I just want to interject here. When you say, Corey, don't mess with me, it's because I have seen this clip and I told Corey how you were a sure shot, how you like dropped the mic. Let's say if it was a mic, you know, you were going to town and then you just walked away like what, you know, boom, pop your collar. So let's just pull up the clip because he's already talking about you. You already know. I'll play it here and we'll get it started. Oh, so just so you know, Corey, the caption Bethune-Cookman University to conduct programs to build trust between Orlando police and Paramore community. And Paramore community is I don't know, how would you say it other than the hood?
It's a low-income neighborhood in Orlando. It's one of the highest call volume neighborhoods. So they have a lot of calls for service coming out of it. It's a small territory. We just finished our action workshops there, but it's a small territory, beautiful residents, but it's a lot of crime and calls for service in that area.
Got it. Okay. Corey, they already talking. See, you got them started. Philip Aldo Jr. says, "Doc busting caps, Corey."
Yeah.
Great. Scott, hey there, Lively View. Debbie says hi from Ghana. She's
Lively View over there in Ghana.
She's home right now on the beach, all that good stuff. Let's see what Dr. Kideste is doing here, busting caps.
Dr. Gang Gang.
Oh, gosh.
Usually used to train law enforcement officers.
So there's the first
is a tool researchers at Bethune-Cookman University are going to show to community members.
All right, so just so the audience can see all those little dots right there in the center, Corey, yeah. So there's like a big square, a second square, a third square, a tiny square, yeah. And then she walking off. Hold on, we're just going.
Paramore and Washington Shores.
Let her drop.
The goal is to find out how much people in those areas trust Orlando police during a time of tension when police violence protesters have clashed with officers.
that if you wait until a major incident happens and then you try to be reactive, it's a lot harder to repair the harm in those communities.
Dr. Kideste Yusef and Dr. Randy Nelson will lead 5 sessions with Orlando police officers who work in Paramore and Washington Shores, 7 meetings with the communities, and 2 workshops to work on ways to improve.
You're talking about police perceptions of the community. Like, why did the police see you the way that they do? How did the police see you? How do you see the police? And what's the origins of that?
Bethune-Cookman's president hopes the project will not only be a success, but give the university nationwide prestige.
We have every hope and intention of scaling up this effort. It is central to the educational identity of the institution.
Dr. Yusef and Dr. Nelson say the goal of the program will be for just a few community members to feel like they can call the police for help, and a few officers to second-guess interactions with these communities. Small steps toward trust.
It's not going to be instantaneous. It's not going to be something that we have a couple of sessions and then, everyone is ready to work together. But I think that we have to take the first step.
The Orlando.
All right.
So before we go on with this interview, let's talk about.
Look, wait, she's smiling, Corey. When I tell you she's smiling real big, like I did that.
So what was your life like
just so
before
you,
college?
Just so you know, Corey, Global Green Book is saying hello to everyone in the
Global
chat.
Green Book.
She is in the DMV area, so she says hello. And she's, you know what, I mentioned her because her YouTube channel, she has a YouTube channel of herself at the gun range. And she's like gang herself. She was shooting the rifle and talking about her sister who was like never fired one shot. She was like, I think she's gonna do it. I think she's gonna do it. And I know that your goal is not to fire shots. That's not your job. You are there. You and your mentor, Dr. Nelson, that was mentioned in that interview. You guys are there to make sure that implicit bias is dispelled. So implicit bias is your natural tendency to want to help whatever is closest to you, or familiar, protect whatever is familiar to you. So
now, and you mentioned something in this interview that we just showed, that is rooted in history. So the implicit bias that may exist within the white police sector, that's rooted in history. Can you talk about some of the history of where the police force actually developed?
Our children are already saying, wow, they didn't know she was a sure shot. Milton says, hi, Corey.
Hey, Milton, Happy New Year.
Go ahead, Kideste.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that if you look at the history of policing, we know that the history of policing, typically, I don't know if you remember, but when we were in school, what I learned in criminal justice is that the history of policing began in Boston with the Metropolitan Police Act and the London Boppies. But in reality, 50, 60, 70, 80 years before, when you look at the strategies and tactics of slave patrollers in the South and the mounted patrol, the getting in groups to hunt runaways, a lot of the tactics that the law enforcement has now begun to employ, or what they learned historically, has been based on these slave patrols. And so the history of policing was based on white men being allotted, any white male, we had laws throughout the Southern territories, any white male being charged to capture runaways. And so we created a system where whites were, by virtue of their whiteness, the policers of those who were of African descent or Black. And so unless we are very intentional in doing strategic things to dispel that structure, we will maintain a structure of policing where, and this is almost like the Karen syndrome too now, where we see like whites all over policing all random acts of Blackness. And I mean, it's not, not in whole, but I mean, the ones that buy into that idea that they should be making sure that they return society to good or control what is good in society.
Right.
And you guys are working with the police departments. Of course, you're covering police of all cultures, because there's implicit bias based on not just ethnicity, but just by the profession itself. It can lead to implicit bias. But you guys, so how has it been? How receptive have the police officers been to the training?
Now, just so that you know, Corey, I'm just sharing a few photos. Like there's one of Kideste at a podium where she's speaking to different police officers, because there are police officers sitting on either side of the podium. There are numerous newspaper articles where she's been featured. Here she's there with, it says, shown in Zone 1, Representative Director Tony Davis is educating community stakeholders on their support and commitment to finalized action plan. So Kideste is sitting there. There's a police officer sitting next to her. So this work, it's nothing new to her. She's sitting.
She ain't new to this. She's true to this.
Here she is with Bethune-Cookman University students along with her. She's there with them with law enforcement. This is nothing new. She's true to the work. This newspaper article shows a picture of her right there at the bottom where, they're working at the John Bridges Community Center, and she's looking at ideas that were drawn up by the task force. She's there, working at Bethune-Cookman, educating, teaching in front of the whiteboard and the screen. And then, of course, I think we have another one. I think those were all the pictures. There's one more, yes, where this is, recently. So, of course, this work is never ending. And I say recently because she has a mask on and we know what time that is.
Right.
So
maybe that's some of the previous activities that related to the gun range simulation.
Those set it off days?
Yeah, set it off days.
I don't know, because Global Green Book, she said, this is good. I came right on time. I don't know if it's because I mentioned the firearms or what, you know what I mean?
So instead of Global Green Book, it's got to be Gang Book.
Yes. And just so you know, also, Kideste says, hey, Kideste, miss you. Looking good. Beauty and intelligence. Yes.
Who said that?
Shonda.
Hey, Shonda, there you go.
Milton says, great topic. Milton is a businessman. He's also a Black man. So this is a great topic for him. So tell us about your work. Corey, your question, just a reminder.
The question I was going to ask you is, you're doing a lot of work within the community, and how receptive have the police officers been to hearing not only what you have to say, but what the community members that are engaging with them have to say?
Thank you for that question. Yes, we've come to Florida. My mentor, Dr. Nelson, is one of the nationally known trainers in law enforcement, and he's really created some huge opportunities for me and taken me under his wing. So we have traveled throughout the state of Florida. Some of the pictures you saw were in Apopka, in Jacksonville, in Orlando. We're in Daytona Beach. We're in Volusia County. Almost every major police agency in Florida. And it's really accelerated post the murder of George Floyd, where agencies know that they have to do more to restructure their police departments and address implicit bias. And, you know, like you said, Quita, we all have different prejudice, biases, etc. The difference is, as law enforcement officers, they have a license to take life and liberty in the streets of America. And so it's not the same thing as a teacher being, you know, a teacher can kill dreams, yes, and that, like, you know, if you go to the bank, someone can discriminate you with getting a loan and housing and healthcare. We just had the doctor who passed. Like, we know all these different arenas, but generally speaking, law enforcement is the only profession where you are legally able to take a life. And so law enforcement bias is a huge thing. And like you said, people tend to gravitate, you know, in terms of, before, social distance in an academic setting didn't mean like 6 feet. It meant like how close you feel with someone that shares resemblance to you. And so disproportionately, research tells us that police historically have made these mistakes, unjustified shootings, at a higher percentage with African Americans. Now, more whites are killed by police in a year, you know, in any given year, but it's because there's more whites in American society. But when you look at African Americans being roughly 13% of the population, and in some states they represent between 30 and 40% of those who are killed at the hands of police, then we have to look at, you know, what's going on here.
You know, Lively View, that's Debbie over in Ghana. She says it's so sad that we have to teach people not to harm us. I do have here a clip of you and Dr. Nelson, your mentor, that I'd like to share. This is from the local news. This is a different clip where you all are talking about implicit bias. The title of this is Does implicit bias police training actually work? So I'm just going to play this small segment so that we can hear what they're saying. And it also talks about the work that you all are doing there, how often this training, you all are providing that training, and then we'll move forward from there if that's okay with you.
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
So I can't hear it. I don't know if y'all can hear it.
All right. So you know what? We're going to do this again where we can share so you all can hear, because that's kind of important, right? I'm glad you said that. Because that was getting good. And I was like, yeah, Okay, so let's try that again. Let's bring it back so they can hear exactly. There we go. So this time you should be able to hear it, and let me know if you can.
Standards set by Florida law. The state requires sworn law enforcement officers to get bias training when they're recruits and every 4 years after that.
Do you think every 4 years is enough?
Personally, don't. Just as Florida is committed to advancing and evolving the tactical aspect, I think we're behind when it comes to communication. I think all this is a part of communication, de-escalation. It's the same conversation. So no, I think we're behind.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement's instruct.
All right. So I just wanted to share that small part with you and Dr. Nelson, speaking on this training. Does it work? Does it not work? Where are we behind? What else can we do? So you talk to us a little bit about that. But, I will say Philip Waldo Jr. says we must continue to educate ourselves along with the next generation. We can make it together. And just so you know, fashion is here. Debbie says, love, love, love the doctor's head wraps. Corey always says, like, oh my goodness, y'all ladies in that fashion. Yes, girl, you brought it today.
Yes, queen, yes.
So go ahead, Corey. You can ask a specific question. I know you have plenty that you'd like to bring out.
Now, I know you work a lot with the police department, but you actually had some pretty exciting moves within your career with working with professional sports teams with social justice concerns. How are you helping to spearhead that?
So I think that even beginning, before, I think since Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, in the beginnings of 2015 with Black Lives Matter, then of course what happened with George Floyd over the summer and Breonna Taylor, it really struck the consciousness, I think in part being in quarantine, of players who were, going to sit out or definitely making, loud displays on jerseys, taking knees, of course, with Kaepernick, leading it as it relates to, more recent history. And we started to get calls from pro sports teams throughout Florida, just first, like with people we knew, kind of having conversations. So the director of player engagement, a head coach, assistant coach, that kind of thing. And then we kind of formed a group and we started to outline 4 pillars of social justice for Florida. And so we've been really able to make strides with the first pillar, which is criminal justice and police reform. And what that pillar does is the goal is really to get more individuals on the street that are law enforcement officers that reflect the communities they serve. So in partnership with Bethune-Cookman University has one of the best criminal justice programs across HBCUs. We are doing phenomenal work and our graduates are going a lot of interesting places. So I'm really excited to be a part of that. And so some of our recognition from our community work and some of the university work is really coming together to come to the table with individuals we wouldn't normally have access to. And so one thing we're trying to do is create a scholarship and we've had some, and I don't want to go into all the sport teams yet, but head coaches challenge each other to raise a certain amount of money where within the 4 Florida HBCUs, a student will be gifted, different students will be gifted with to pursue careers in criminal justice with a commitment to go back to their community and serve 3 years as a law enforcement officer. And then the local police departments have agreed to pay for the students to go through the academy. And so we're trying to get individuals in our community to understand and reflect those residents. So there's more, there's less of a reaction of fear and implicit bias and more an understanding to, create a better situation for the quality of life of both, of course, the residents and the community officers that police that community. We also have been able to do like social justice training for players. Players are excited and they're motivated and they don't know what to do, or they want to make sure that they're really informed about the history or the laws and how to approach different things. And so we've been able to come in, I will say this because it's in the past, I guess we were able to do all of the Jaguars, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the whole football team, Marcus Pollard, who is a great partner on this initiative, has really been really, really helpful with spearheading a lot of this stuff. And we were able to go in and do a social justice training for all the players in terms of, the history of policing, the ways in which we interact, the institutional racism, bias, community engagement, and how can you be a part of the change. So we have, we're working with several teams and it's going really well. I'm very prayerful and thankful that I think it's going to have a real impact in Florida.
Speaking of impact, they are loving you. Armani Walker is sending love. Dr. Yusef, just shouting you out. Sharon Davidson Cook, she's a thespian. She's an educator. She says, awesome. She has numerous degrees and is just a constant learner and an educator of others. And she is really, one of those people that are cheering you on. So speaking of cheering you on.
Your community service is just part of your DNA because it roots back to your mother, and your mother's a very special person. She's transitioned on as an ancestor, but she still has an impact on you to this very day. I remember one story about your mom. We went to dinner at her house, and I
have a picture of her restaurant here. If this restaurant is in Ethiopia, that's why the language at the top is different. So go ahead, because she was an amazing cook,
yes,
and businesswoman, and several businesses all the time. But we went to dinner, and
she wanted to introduce me to her parrot named Axum. She said, "Corey, stand here and say hello to Axum." I said, "Hello, Axum." He said, "Shut up, punk!" And then she got this big laugh that really exemplifies her name. Alimsahai meaning world of sunshine, am I correct?
Yeah, so Alimsahai, her name means the world of world, and Zihai is sunshine. So collectively it means like a world of sunshine, yes. And my mother was she was such a soldier, like a queen warrior if there ever was one. And she since I can remember, like worked 2 and 3 jobs to send money home for her family.
Right.
I think over the years we realized that it's easier to, it's better to teach a man to fish than to keep giving them fish. And so she created a blueprint. I mean, and women were not doing that. She went to the local city ordinance and the government and got the land, created the blueprint. I mean, my mom saved spoons, chairs, like if you look at the furniture in the restaurant, everything is hand carved. She had the chairs and the tables set up before there was a brick on the ground. Like she started collecting stuff because she believed in her vision.
Right.
And it really just came to fruition where she was really trying to provide jobs and opportunities to our family members and our cousins so that they could establish their own, sources of income and spread wealth through our community. And so she created a storefront where people could rent out different shops. So there was a photography shop, a digital shop, like a, kind of like a CVS bodega kind of store where you can get everything. In addition to Johannes, which is her restaurant and hotel. And she was just, phenomenal. Like here in the picture you're looking at now, every year, well, several times a year, but in this picture, they had the pilgrims coming to the Christian, they were making a pilgrimage and they passed the restaurant and she stopped and brought out all this food and injera and coffee and they started celebrating. So the restaurant is actually, you can't, like behind them is
the car is, like it's in the background. The restaurant back there, like the hotel, the car and everything. And these women here are celebrating your mom who's in the middle that organized all of this.
Yes.
That's what you're saying? Yes.
Yeah.
And then I know there's your mom here pouring a coffee ceremony because all of these pictures are in Ethiopia. Like the restaurant is in Axum, which is why the parrot was named after her birth city. And explain to us a little bit about this coffee ceremony because she's pouring here, but then I know after she transitioned and you all traveled back, like there's a picture of you and your family all there in Ethiopia, happily standing there. Here you are at her restaurant. And then there was the other picture with you pouring coffee. So explain to us the importance of the coffee ceremony and what that's all about as well.
So the coffee ceremony is a huge deal in Ethiopia. It's, like if you've ever been in a land where people may not have much materialistically, but they are willing to give you hospitality off the gate. And so if you ever come to anyone's house, the first thing they're going to do is pour coffee. Like if it's a birth of a baby, if it's a wedding, and the coffee is very ceremonial. So you do like 3 transitions or 3 pours. What my mom had in her hand in the picture was a frenello, and it's the clay pot that you use. You cook it on like a little grill, coals, like you can see it there in her hand. And it's just like you don't refuse it. And y'all know, y'all have come to my house plenty of times to eat. And anyone who's ever come to my house or with my mom, you know that you don't, it's kind of like an insult to deny and offer a food. And so here she's pouring.
Go ahead.
Yeah, she's pouring the coffee, and we call it shahine, the little teacups. And it's just a gathering place. Like even like in the middle of the day, you stop and go home, get together, pour coffee. When I was in Virginia before I moved to Florida, my sisters and I would get together Sunday brunches, and like we wouldn't necessarily still always have coffee ceremonies, but it was the same idea of bringing on everyone together to talk about their day, to take a break in the middle of the week. And it's just like it's just such a good tradition. And the coffee is like this. Ethiopia is the birthplace of coffee. So the coffee beans are they're so strong. Like now you can get it at Starbucks and Wawa and everywhere else. But the coffee ceremony itself is very, very important to us.
I want to definitely say that, coffee is important to you all. Like you said, it's the birthplace of Ethiopia is the birthplace, but Ethiopia is the birthplace of so many things. Like Ethiopia is the one country that has never been colonized. Ethiopia has always been independent. Ethiopia has their own calendar. They're like, forget all this nuclear nonsense. Say that again.
You're about to start making me get excited.
Right, because they have 13 months, all 28 days. They're in line with the constellations and the timeline and all of that. And everyone is just so excited. Fan Britt says, amazing work, Dr. K. Thankful for all you do for our community. Philip Aldo Jr., awesome work and testimony, Dr. K. Shonda Brooks, awesome work. You're amazing. OBU in his house. Your mom is beautiful. And Global Green Book says this has been informative. I will be sharing on Facebook. That's the goal. That's the reach. You're wowing the children. You know, the goal is to definitely extend the reach of our information, of everything that's good. We've really enjoyed you today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been so fun.
Absolutely.
We definitely enjoyed you. We're gonna put you backstage so that you can we can talk to you after the broadcast. But right now we're gonna transition to Chef LaQuita Marie, who's gonna give us today's plant-based treat.
All right. You know, the idea is to get you guys eating more fruits and vegetables. And so we've got another plant-based treat for you right here.
Peas that please.
All right, so I got the beans in here with a bag of beans. I think it was a 12-ounce bag.
Cook on medium-high for 30 minutes.
And to finish chopping this rutabaga, I've already taken the skin off.
Chop 1 rutabaga and 2 onions.
Rutabagas are rich in vitamin C, cancer-fighting antioxidants, and they build strong bones.
Great for fiber, too. A couple of bay leaves. Bay leaves are rich in vitamins A and C, iron, potassium, calcium, and magnesium. Cover this. We're just going to let it cook until those vegetables get soft, another 10 minutes.
1 teaspoon of smoked paprika.
Paprika contains a lot of iron. It's important to eat it with the source of vitamin C.
A teaspoon of seasoning salt with garlic. A teaspoon of seasoning salt with chili powder.
So I'm just going to add this homemade sausage.
Plant-based sausage.
That I made. I just browned it a little bit. So we're just going to add a little bit of salsa for our tomatoes.
1 cup of salsa or crushed tomatoes.
Make sure you take out the bay leaves.
These are the best black-eyed peas ever. They had lots of flavor.
I agree. I like how there was stuff around the beans instead of just the beans.
All right, we got Fan Brit already in there. Black-eyed peas, ready for the new year.
Yeah, black-eyed peas, the sound of prosperity and good luck. So we want to thank you guys for joining us on this episode of The Blind Guy,
His Wife,
Their Life Live. If you haven't subscribed already, please do hit that button. We're trying to get subscribers, and
by the end of the year, guys.
End of the year, that's midnight tonight. So let us go to 2021 with a bang by having 1,000 subscribers. We want to thank Dr. Kideste Yusef, and tomorrow you're going to meet some of our fabulous members of the day program at Atumpan Dance Theater as we do a end of the year wrap up
with our Kwanzaa show chit chat. You know, that's like the culminating event of the year. Kwanzaa is all year long for us guys, so I know it's Kwanzaa season, but yes, we're going to have some of our cast members on tomorrow.
So don't forget to hit the like button. Also hit that notification bell so that you know when the next when we actually go live. You get those alerts. Thank you. If you want to partner with us, there are ways to partner with us. By becoming a patron, or you can donate through Cash App at #Blind
Guy His Wife. Goes right to our 501c3 nonprofit.
And it's tax deductible. We thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Blind Guy His Wife Their Life Live. And always in parting, we say deuces.
Deuces.